So we're now entering the final phase of our program. Again, we've talked about where we've been, where we could be. Here's some things incredibly comprehensive on the education front. And now Julie Kirkpatrick of Meet NKY is going to talk a little bit about the regional umbrella identity. And we are very thankful to Julie and her team, her board, for bringing this forward as a destination narrative. This identity piece has long been a challenge for Northern Kentucky. You heard it from the Unity panel that Bill referenced and several other speakers referenced in terms of our identity, our name, our narrative. So Julie's going to provide an overview, ask some guiding questions. There's going to be a little bit of table time that I promise will be fun. And then we have the corridor of cocktails right out in front of here, compliments of the One NKY Alliance. So I promise you, stick with us, you'll enjoy this, and then we'll be on our way to a cocktail.
All right, I'm between you and the bar. I only got about 30 or 40 minutes here. It's not gonna be that bad, I promise. No, we're gonna have some fun here. First of all, Sylvie, Blue Raspberry Airheads, they're the bomb. They're so good. If you leave them on your table, I will collect them before I leave. So the corridor of candy, I'll tell you what. I want to see, can we do the world's largest Diet Coke Mentos drop here? I think we need a world's record. Okay, let's do it at Turfway. Let's just get it going. All right. This is a fun project. The Regional Umbrella Identity. Sorry, we're going to think of a better name for this. The RUI is what we're calling it right now. But like everything, I want to tell you a story about where this is coming from. And so to do that, I've got to go all the way back to last year. Sorry, it's late. I got to go back to last year when we were lucky enough to bring a writer in from the New York Times on assignment here to Northern Kentucky. Her name was Liza Weistrick. She's an amazing writer. She writes stories about destinations all over the country. We had been pitching her for about 2 years, and she came in to write an amazing story. I may sleep with this under my pillow. I'm not lying. Because this is one of the crowning jewels to talk about Northern Kentucky and what we stand for. It's about bourbon. I counted that today. You guys, you mentioned bourbon 12 times. I was counting. So we're known for that. But Liza called me as she was writing this story, and she said, I'm struggling with your narrative as a destination. When I was there, I went to Fort Mitchell and Covington and Sparta, and she also went over the river to a what concert did she go to? Salt and Pepper concert, yeah, because that just happened to be in town. She said, you're an amazing destination, but it's really hard to define what it is that makes Northern Kentucky, Northern Kentucky. Going on concurrent with that, we were working with an amazing consultant from Washington, D.C. called Street Sense that was coming in to write our tourism master plan. They were identifying areas of development that this organization, Meet NKY, could focus on to propel the destination forward and what we call keep the tourism party going. So we released our tourism master plan in October of last year, and number 3 on the list was a regional identity. And basically the way they described that to me is that Northern Kentucky is a very unique place in a very unique region, but you describe yourself as a direction. And the number one thing that Northern Kentucky could do is get the band together and get a regional identity established, a narrative on how you describe yourself. So we worked on a couple of little projects, and I'm so excited now that I feel that we have this tipping point when it is time to do this project and to do it right. I look at the One NKY Center. That is going to become a reality. I look at the Corridor of Commerce, what's going on with this is becoming a reality. There's $5 billion of investment going on in our community. It is right now is the right time. So BNKY, Meet NKY, the Northern Kentucky Chamber and the One NKY Alliance will be going to RFP to hire an agency to help us write this narrative. What does Northern Kentucky stand for? What is our story? How do we express it? What does it look like? If we get to a tagline, that will be great. But really, it's about the narratives. And at the end of the day, it is about talent. And how are we going to bring new talent to this region? And what are we telling them? What is Garen's team telling them when they're out recruiting the next cardiothoracic head to come to Northern Kentucky? When you're recruiting someone at Profetti, what are you saying about Northern Kentucky, our claim to fame? What is our narrative? And make no mistake, Bill, we're gonna carve it into the floor at One NKY, and everyone will see it when they're coming into the center. So this is an exciting project. We are issuing RFP soon. We're going to do this work and release it next year. But now, before I let you go to the bar, I want you to do some work for us. Because here's the hardest thing about branding. Branding can get killed really, really easy and early in the process by opinion. And by making and doing the wrong research and saying something that's not true and not honest, and not pulling out what is true and what is honest, and using that as the basis to create narrative. So at our tables right now, I think Ryan was so kind to go give everybody a new page of paper. And if you work at your tables, it's 2 very easy questions, and then I will let you go to the bar. The results of this will shape the way that we write the RFP, and we will hand this over to whatever agency we work with. Very simply, the questions are, number 1, 2 to 3 things. What is Northern Kentucky known for? What do we own? What is something that is ownable for us? 2 or 3. Number 2, what are we not known for? What is something that maybe is out there in the ecosystem and it's being said, but it's actually not genuine for Northern Kentucky? And we probably need to make sure that that doesn't become a thread that we pull on as we're writing narrative. And this narrative will become something that we use in tourism when we're writing campaign, and you guys don't see our ads because the majority of our ads are outside of our market. But make sure there's a lot of talent that sees our ads. And as a matter of fact, last year we brought an additional 400,000 new visitors to Northern Kentucky, and tourism has that halo effect for talent because no one has ever moved anywhere without visiting first, right? And the things that they see in the destination start to intrigue them. So help us with that. It'll be a narrative that BNKY will use as they're doing business attraction, recruitment, the chamber is using. It's something that hopefully we can all get in alliance, and you'll start to see this narrative creep out throughout the whole entire community. Sound good? All right, let's do this work. Karen, how long are we going to give everybody? 5 minutes? Generous, because this is gut. This is coming right out of your gut. Don't overthink it. And we'll come back and maybe let 1 or 2 brave souls. I travel with bourbon. I may give you a bottle of bourbon. Thank you. All right. Anyone want to stand up and share some of their thoughts?
I got really excited. And maybe I wasn't intending to volunteer. But I reacted to something my table had come up. Sarah Cameron, I'm with Dinsmore and Shoal. But we were thinking, or what I reacted to was, we are Midwest diversity meets Southern hospitality.
Okay.
And you don't even need the RFP now.
I love it. One of the things that our consultant pulled out is that we're very tribal in Northern Kentucky. But along with that tribalism comes a lot of pride And how does that come out? Kevin, I see you with a microphone.
So we had a pretty robust conversation. I think universally we agreed that one of the key attributes we have is location. The fact that, we talk about the airport all the time, but how close of a drive we are to major cities in this country, a reasonable drive, and by flight. So geographically, we have a huge advantage and with a very neighborhood feel. Now, we didn't talk about this, but it just hit me. Our slogan should be, where did you go to high school?
Tribal.
No, think about how much fun we would have with that nationally. People would be like, what?
Okay, so I will say
I'm
this,
kidding.
my team's gonna cringe. My favorite tourism campaign in the United States of America is Nebraska's campaign. Has anybody seen it? Their campaign is, honestly, it's not for everyone. That's literally their tourism campaign. What are some things Northern Kentucky is not? Anybody want to take that one on? That is good feedback. And I think that's going to come out in some of this work. We struggle with that, and maybe you struggle with it when you go to conventions and people ask you where you're from, and they say Northern Kentucky, and their next response is, well, we love Louisville. I'm like, well, we do too. They're 80 miles down the road. So that is where Cincinnati becomes important, right? That is where that flag in the ground becomes important. Okay, we got time for one more thing, and then Karen's going to yank me off the stage. Yes, Amanda. Damn, now I wish I would have brought that London Times article. So the New York Times was what I thought the pinnacle of the career until the London Times article hit this year. So we are a place, there's a lot to do here, and 8 million visitors come every year and find that out. So some of that sentiment is gonna come out as well, but it goes into number 7 on the strategic plan, better educate locals. So thank you for letting me better educate you today, and I will get out of your way so you can go to the bar. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, everyone. The bar is open. We will be sending out the PowerPoints. The white paper will be available on our website. Enjoyed being with you this afternoon. Thank you.